only this time with collectors at the wheel. Japanese cars first arrived in this country in the late 1960s, and by the late 70s they'd begun to dominate the British car market. But their growing success was viewed with suspicion and contempt by the public, politicians and media, as well as the crumbling British car industry. You had to be a brave driver to fly the Nippon flag.
Well, it was the spring of 1967, and I did feel a little bit guilty when I ordered a foreign car, but then I reasoned that no, that was wrong attitude. One should realise that if we're going to compete in world markets, the British product has got to be every bit as good as the foreign one.
For any car to be collectible later in its life, it has to somehow sum up the year it was built, symbolise its age and freeze it in a block of perspex. Well, this 1979 Datsun estate doesn't exactly use perspex, but it does capture something of the 1970s in its vinyl and plastic interior. And that's why, even though there are still hundreds of these cars sitting in taxi ranks around the UK, they do sometimes turn up in slightly more unusual places. So, William, this is the HQ of the Datsun Owners Club.
That's right, this is it.
And you're the 22-year-old chairman. That's quite young to be shouldering all that responsibility.
Well, at the time when we started, nobody else seemed to want to do it.
And how many members have you got now?
About 120. Possibly my favourite has got to be the Datsun 180B.
This is the Bluebird.
That's right, I've had 22 of these. And it was one of the first ones I had, so I've got quite fond of them. I like the way they're put together. I like the interiors are very nice on them, and I'll show you.
There's a lot of plastic, isn't there?
Well, most cars are plastic, but it's good quality plastic, that's the difference. The way they're built is sort of a bit like a Mercedes or a BMW, but they're just like
Datsun.
Yeah.
With a Datsun badge.
With a Datsun badge.
And what do your friends think of all this? I mean, do your friends think that you're a peculiar person?
Yes.
You gotta speed it up, and then you gotta slow it down. 'Cause if you believe that a love can hit the top, you gotta play around. But soon you will find that there comes a time for making your mind up.
Tim, apparently you own rather more than the usual number of Suzuki WizKids.
Yes, well actually I own 12, I have to say.
Why on earth, of all the cars in the world, do you decide that the Suzuki WizKid is the one you want to go crazy about?
I don't like having all that metal around me. I like to be compact in a small space. It's just...
It's reassuring, isn't it?
It's reassuring, yes, I think.
I mean, what's the big deal about the a rear engine in a car this size?
As all the power's delivered low down, you know, you can have a lot of these modern cars, give them a shock, because they all sort of tend to look at you and think, ooh, what's that?
So, Sam, how on earth did you get caught up in all of this?
I suppose I got caught up because Tim's my fiancé.
Is it just the character of the car?
Things they do, and they're quirky.
And the rest of the family's got caught up in it now, hasn't it?
Yes.
What kind of effect does it have on a family for you all to be driving exactly the same car?
I think it brings the family closer together.
OK, Mr Brown, so your daughter's got a car, her fiancé's got a car, your wife's got a car. Were you not beginning to worry that they were all getting caught up in some strange cult?
It did begin to look that way.
This is a Rolls-Royce Phantom 6. I've been a chauffeur for coming on for 5 years now with my present employer. So unfortunately with Rolls-Royce, the technology has tended to fall behind somewhat. Originally they had very good product, but they've tended to rest on their laurels. This is my car. It's a 1972 Toyota Crown Coupe. Personally, I like it because it's very pretty in an ugly sort of way. I have been taking the car to shows ever since I've owned it for about 3 years, and in the beginning there was a lot of anti-Japanese feeling. Phrases like Jap crap and similar were thrown at us, but since we've become more accepted in the classic car circles, if you like, we don't seem to have this sort of stigma to contend with anymore.
All the advantages that Japanese cars offer on the road, like strength and sturdy build quality, also come in rather useful on the banger track. And that, in the end, is why they really will become collectible. While half of them are rusting out on the streets, the other half are here, getting torn apart in the racing. The next thing you know, there's none left, and everybody wants to collect them.